Welcome back to Sarita's Garden. It is Wednesday, February 4th, and we're seeing more of the aftermath of 3 nights of very cold temperatures. We were 28 Saturday night, 29, 28 Sunday night, 34 or 35 on Monday night. So 3 nights of a lot of cold. Saturday night we had high winds, 35 mile an hour gusts, and so now you can see the cold damage to the bananas, also to, this is a papaya that had some flowers starting, but those will be dead. And right behind it is Jamaican cherry. So I'm just going to today walk through the northeast corner because there's just too many things to look at, and the video will be too long. As you can see over there, that is all toasted. That's a lot of Mexican sunflower, the very tall things, which is fine. It's no problem for that to die. But it did result in us not having as much of a windbreak for the mango that's inside there. And the bananas all toasted. So you can see that leaf damage. We're not sure if that's going to drop all of its leaves. We're not sure if some of the branches will die. This is Mexicola avocado. Did great. We didn't do anything different with this avocado. We pulled the mulch up over the graft. We did that with several trees, but it just was able to sustain life during those temperatures. In the previous cold snap, I think it was 2 weeks prior, we are pretty sure we lost that mamey sapote. That guy looks pretty toasted, and that definitely didn't help these other nights. Up here we have passion fruit, also looking quite sad, but it doesn't seem as horrible as some other things, right? Okay, so just to orient, that was the driveway where I started, and now we are working our way over to, bees. In the winter, when it's dry, the bees are a bit aggressive. Passion fruit, not too bad on that guy. And okay, so this is a jackfruit. We did have that trunk wrapped up with a towel. We had the mulch pulled up. You can see the leaf damage, the discoloration there. And yeah, so that's kind of it from there. There's some of the bananas from the, I'm standing to the north view. Our bamboo seemed to do okay. Surprising, this was firebush. This is a native plant. It is a small plant, but our large firebush look exactly the same. So, I'm not sure if that will survive. Which is surprising. I would think a native could be able to handle some of these more uncharacteristic lows. I mean, these lows happened, I think, last about 20 years ago. So it's not like it never happens, but this is also a native. It looks decent, and then the close-up you can see some of the leaf damage there, that discoloration. Okay, then this is ice cream bean. What I'm sort of surprised about is that this is quite a young plant. It looks like it has a little bit of damage up there on the top. I mean, I don't know, maybe it will just show worse later on. We have some large ice cream bean in the back, and they look terrible. So again, the banana is pretty toasted. It sounds like everybody's recommendations online and Facebook groups and other growers that we follow that are local in the area, they have said since February is the time when we have, this is papaya. February, the end of February is kind of like our official end of the cold possibility. And so I just haven't gotten around to taking that blanket off, but that will come off. But I do want to say a couple things about papayas. But what I'm trying to finish saying is that not to do anything for the next 4 weeks. This is February because we could get cold again. And so we leave all the dead stuff hanging and on, so it just looks like a graveyard. And and then we watch and we wait. We see like in March, sounds like there is a potential, like if a banana had not flowered or fruited yet, there's a potential that new leaves could come out from the banana. And apparently the leaf starts from the very bottom at the corm, and the corm probably didn't die because that was very well protected by mulch. That would have stayed warmer under all that protection. So we're going to remain hopeful. This is papaya. We did take about 10 fruit off of here. Some of them were starting to yellow, so I'm really glad we harvested early, because this it's just too late in the papaya season. Papaya is like, I don't know, flowering and starting to fruit in like late, I guess fall, and then winter is when they start ripening. So I think we had some of our first papayas ripening late December, but really like in January and February. And like by the time it starts to get warm, like in April, they're just petering out. So we're done with papayas for this year. We really liked this variety, and I'm going to employ a technique that I did with another papaya plant in the yard, and that is probably where the blanket is. It looks like it's maybe like 4 feet up. That's where I'm going to cut the quote-unquote trunk. It's not a tree. It's a herbaceous plant, but I'm going to cut it there. And then what I had done before, as I watched in other videos, I stuffed it with plastic to try to keep water from getting too much in there and like rotting it out. And then what happened is from that cut area, then a bunch of sprouts grew and branches grew, and then it fruited, the one that I tried this on last year. So I'm hopeful that like the lower parts didn't die in this cold snap. So again, I'm going to leave it till March, see how things are looking, then I'll cut it back sometime in March or April and allow it to regrow for next season. So this is a variety we like, and we're going to do that. Mulberry here did get quite a bit of leaf damage. We're trying to kind of create a mulberry patch right here, which hasn't taken off yet. Black sapote did get a lot of damage. That's here. I'm going to wrap this up soon because I want to keep this under 10 minutes. But it didn't look as bad as some of the other trees. So I don't know. Fingers crossed that guy bounces back. These were a lot of natives and low shrubby things to the ground that definitely died back. Same with over here, kind of a more native area. Some things were already just drying out already from the season, but I wanted to just point out 2 very sad things. This is the carambola fuangtung starfruit, and it just fruited this year. Sorry, not this. Yeah, this year. I guess it started maybe in December, January. We had at least over 100 fruit, and we did recently harvest it all right before this cold snap. But you can see all this terrible leaf damage, and I don't know, again, if that will just like defoliate and if the branches and the trunk is fine. We've been going around the yard. Yesterday we started, and today, to pull back the mulch away from the trunks, because we use that technique to keep it warm, but it's not a good technique to keep that on long term because that can rot out the trunk, especially if it gets wet. So we're pulling back the mulch like you can see. I've done down there, well, it's a little hard to see, but I have done that down there at the ground level, and I've watered kind of this front, well, I've watered this section that you just have been seeing with me. Also very sad, this is Angie mango. This is one of our grafted mangoes and that I grafted, and it did experience a ton of leaf damage. Now, the wind came from the northwest, which is literally in the direction that I'm looking. So, right, it came from behind it. It's interesting because the side where the wind came from doesn't look as bad as the other side. So I'm not sure what that's about, but That is some of the flower damage. Let's get that in focus. And this one had been flowering, so that will just be kind of a bit sad. So we're hopeful that this will come back, bounce back. We can also always prune it and allow new growth to come out. But again, it's a wait and see kind of thing. So that's our Angie mango. The one other thing I just wanted to mention, getting long here, but in this kind of breezeway between our house, we picked a bunch of these papayas off already. These papayas are all quite toasted. Sorry about the backlighting from the sky. Let me come around. Neither of these three plants, they're all the same variety. It's called Tainung number 2, and we were recommended that variety. We found them to be very mild, tasteless, and way less interesting than what we've grown from seed that we've saved from other fruits. So again, we had bought these seeds. They're an F1 hybrid variety. We didn't like it. So I'm kind of glad that this whole cold event happened in this particular scenario, because I'm going to remove these to the ground. I don't want this variety for next year. I want to plant the other varieties that we like. And I did start seeds, 8 pots, some hopeful. So basically what I do is I put a bunch of seeds in a pot, and then I'm going to grow out the strongest one. So I'll have 1 plant in each pot. So that'll give me 8 papaya plants. And some of these are the more the varieties that we do like. And so this is our crop for next winter. And once we start growing those out, then we'll plant them again up along this ridge. Not exactly in the same spot. We want to give the soil a rest there, but just maybe adjacent beside it. So these will go, and we'll put the ones in that we like. So as upsetting as it is to lose plants and to have your fruiting season shortened in half, in the example of papaya, it's given us an opportunity to kind of switch out varieties and make that even better for next year. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So, graveyard, food forest, looking a little toasted. Thanks for watching Sarita's Garden. See you next time.